Hello there, and welcome to Thank the Maker, a podcast about heroes, princesses, scoundrels, hokey religions, ancient weapons, and all things Star Wars. I'm Adam Russell.
Hey, I'm Nick Ghorman Barian. Good to be back.
That was pretty good. That was pretty good. It's Mike Forrester. I'm here. I'm ready to fight.
That's good.
I've been saying that all day.
You're the resident. You could do really any voice.
Matthew.
You do many voice.
I want to be the Matthew Wood of Thank the Maker, the David Collins of Thank the Maker, if we could.
David Collins is like you and Jason combined.
Wow, that is a good point. That's quite a skill set to have. First of all, before we get started talking about this incredibly dense show, do I look like a trapper keeper?
In the best
I love
way
trapper
possible.
keepers.
Wow,
Yeah.
I am like loving this fit. This might be one of the best Roosevelt's collections of memory.
I'd put it up there, like in contention for number one.
It's lit.
So good.
I mean,
This
jeez,
This is
shirt
like
is
bed
not part
sheet
of
one?
it, right? This is pre that.
that's from the
was-
last drop.
That was the last drop. I've been wearing that one on stage. That one's good.
That one's
Love
great.
that one.
I could
And
take
Nick,
6
you have
movies.
the bed sheets.
It's like old bed sheets, but I don't like Grand Moff Tarkin's on this. I don't think he was on the bed sheets.
well,
This is
maybe
very bed sheet inspired for sure, which is what
Well,
I
I
love. This
like
is
it.
also the inside of the new jacket, like the reversible jacket.
it's so
The
good. I wore it last
whole
night.
jacket is this. Very cool.
Very
Roosevelt's crushing it as per usual.
You know, in life, you're always supposed to progress, and they're progressing.
and
They're doing better than ever.
I will also say shout out to our boy John, owner of Roosevelt's, for being inducted as a friend of the Legion for the 501st charity shirt that they did
Nice.
Very
to
cool.
raise money for Starlight Foundation. So, John, welcome aboard. We hope you'd build a costume in the near future. I feel like you're on the level to do that. It was. I love seeing that they had Mick Giacchino in, and they also inducted John into the 501st. So, just good vibes going all around until we get to this show, which is not the best of vibes.
Dude, speaking of your great meme that you made with the season 1 stills of Syril and what's his manager's name or whatever, his captain's name, on Ferrix. There's another one in one of these episodes that we just watched that will work even better. I'll tell you about after the show. We're going to post that because that one's popping off. This one's going to pop off.
We're making memes.
I sent an
Stir
idea
the
for
pot.
one. I sent an idea for one that's going to crush.
Yes. This is all
Knowing
good
me,
stuff.
it won't crush, but I'll laugh.
Well, I'm going to Photoshop the shit out of it because that is a great idea you sent. All right, we have a lot to talk about. We definitely hit on some stuff last night that we went a little long in our immediate reaction last night on Instagram, but
Ryan Key was there.
Ryan Key was there, right here. He was right here.
Where is he tonight?
They are shooting a video in St. Louis tomorrow, so they had a meeting today about that stuff, and Ryan Mendez and Dan from my band are probably getting drunk somewhere.
You should have invited us.
That's how Dan operates. Dan's definitely getting drunk somewhere.
Sure.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
Mike, go hang out at the video shoot tomorrow. They're doing some cool stuff with our friend Jordan Phoenix.
Yeah.
So let's get into this. If you're watching on Instagram, there's only a couple people right now. Head over to youtube.com/@thankthemakerpod and watch the whole thing. I'll let this run for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to shut it down. Come see us on YouTube or listen on the podcatcher of your choice tomorrow. All right, let's do Stolen Plans. Mike, you want to do that, sir?
Why don't Nick, you take that as I
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
immediately. That's
And I have
kind
the
of your
whole-
thing.
I have the whole cast there.
Yeah.
Just jump to the end if you want. You may have
Those
noticed how I
last-
highlighted.
Well, you want those light gray ones and then the white ones?
Yeah.
Or just the white ones?
A dealer's choice.
Well, I don't know what we've covered so far.
We've covered everything. The last three are the most important.
Okay, I'll just do those three.
What have you done with those plans?
Andor Season 2, Episodes 4, 5, and 6 debuted yesterday, April 29th, 2005 on Disney+. The second of 4 3-episode blocks. Episode 4 was called Ever Been to Ghorman? Episode 5, I Have Friends Everywhere. And Episode 6, What a Festive Evening. And it was quite the festive evening. Run times were pretty damn consistent. 57 minutes, 57 minutes, 58 minutes. And when I started them last night at midnight, that was very long. I didn't make it all the way. I'll just put it that way. So these episodes were written by Bo Willimon, who also wrote the Narkina arc of Andor Season 1, also worked on House of Cards, Mary Queen of Scots, and executive producer of Severance.
I can tell.
Yeah, right.
I can tell.
And then directing was Ariel Clayman. And then we covered most of the cast already. So the notable names in this arc were Richard Sammel as Caro Rylance, Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera. And I'd like to know what you guys think about this. Benjamin Bratt has been cast as Senator Bail Organa, recast from Jimmy Smits.
So we talked about it briefly last night, that there were rumors out there. We all saw, probably, right? Did we? I don't know if we discussed it or not, but there were rumors that Bale was coming back and he had been recast. It was kind of, well, there it is. That was it was a Jeff Goldblum moment when it happened. I think he looks great. He's a great actor. Aside from a little bit different, like, nose shape, he looks a lot like Jimmy Smits. He's got that same energy. We have an explanation here from an interview in Collider. What did you guys think before we read this?
It's totally fine. It just seems so late in the character's on-screen arc for us, if that makes sense, to be recast. Like, he has been around so much, and it seems so strange to not be in this, considering we just saw him, 2 years ago in Obi-Wan. He's been in Rogue One. He's been around. So it seems a little strange just as a visual. I get these things happen and I'm not losing any sleep over it. Even in my bedsheet shirt right here, I'm not losing any sleep.
He's sleeping in this shirt for sure.
It was a little weird, but I think the casting's good. Like I like him.
Sure. Yeah. I think this is the inevitable thing. And Tony talks about this. You have these legacy characters that do make it so that people hold on to this. And I think Bale kind of became a fan favorite. He was never an over the top, we certainly could say that he's pivotal within the story, but I think most people wouldn't recognize, if I was to say Bail Organa, a lot of people wouldn't exactly remember who he was when you're talking most casual fans. So this is kind of one of those things where I think we have to go back to our Star Wars-ness and go, we got to relax, as much as it throws us off, because we all know Bale since 1999, 2002 as Jimmy Smits. So yeah, it's understandable. The explanation that we're going to get to here makes 100% sense. It's just a little disappointing. And I think it tells us that he's going to have a bigger role as we go further on, because if it was just to acknowledge him leaving the party and acknowledging that he's with Coruscant's best, I would have said, find somebody else. But I get the sense that we're getting more Bale as the story progresses. So what can you do?
It's like a parent, right? We're not disappointed. Or wait, what do you say?
We're not upset. We're just disappointed.
Yeah, I'm not mad. We're just disappointed.
Yeah, the quote says it right here, but I agree. Like, if it was anyone else, there's just something about it being like he's like this medium-sized character, but big in our hearts in a way. I don't know. Genevieve O'Reilly, like, granted, Mon Mothma was such a small part in the original trilogy, but she has just become Mon Mothma. She is almost even more, actually, in the way that Ewan McGregor is Obi-Wan for everyone who's under 40. A lot of us who are older, Alec Guinness is the guy, but spend enough time on screen. So it is a weird flip. It's kind of, but anyway, he killed it. He's great. But here's the quote from Collider, the interview that Gilroy did. He said, "The scheduling didn't work out. We tried really hard, but he wasn't available and couldn't make it." what is he shooting? It has to be something big. Bringing back legacy characters is really complicated. It's very expensive. It's very who's working when. Kathy had the idea for Benjamin Bratt. It was just a brilliant idea. I put him in episode 6 in an arbitrary way so we could get people, so people could get the conversation out of the way until the next week when he really starts to work. That's smart. I think that makes sense. It's one of those situations where I want to do something simple. We don't do many things that are unnecessary, but it's like, let's get him in here now so people can discuss it for a week, get it out of their system, and then we can come back to really work. And I didn't want the guy's work to be confused in his introduction. So that's
I did like the introduction because they nailed the exposition of the introduction, where
yeah.
I think Mon Mothma was like Senator Organa, and then her husband was just Perrin was just like Bail. Okay, I'm like, okay, now I know that it's Bail Organa.
Right. Right. She's like, hey, have you helped anyone escape Order 66?
Senator Bail Organa, father of Leia Organa from Star Wars.
How are you? Good to see you.
I mean, if we're gonna, we don't do this shit, but if you're gonna compare blocks, if we're gonna rate them, the first 3 or this 3, which hit harder for you guys?
That's a great question. Nick, do you have an answer that immediately jumps off your
Not immediately. I would say the first one. This one seemed more tense. I mean, the beauty of this show is how unfun it is. You know, it's, I mean, even last season was unfun. I remember saying, I love this show and I'm not having fun watching it. And it's multiply that by a lot this season. I enjoyed one. This one seemed so much more in the dark. Like it seemed like if it actually progresses arc by arc, like getting deeper and unfun. And I texted you guys last night saying, here are my notes so far. And one of them just said, the rebellion is scary. Like they all seem like bad guys, you know, like the way they're being portrayed right now, they actually seem like the bad guys. And it's unfun, but I would lean 1 for now. Final answer.
I would say, I mean, I think when you think about it, I did feel a sense of dread last night in a way that I didn't necessarily feel in the first arc. I said last night that I was like, I want somebody so bad just to show up with a lightsaber and tell me someone's going to win. Something's gonna, like, don't worry, like Luke Skywalker's here, right? The sense of when I remember Luke Skywalker coming to save Grogu, I'm chasing that feeling still, and it's not coming in this show because every time we get a new arc, I know that someone seemingly important is going to die, and I was not expecting what happened in this particular arc, but I knew that there was going to be something heavy, and I hate the sense that the Empire is incredibly efficient. For as many times as we've referred to the Empire as being these, you know, kind of dummy guys in plastic that can barely hit, and they're always incompetent besides the on Hoth, they're terrifying. Like the ISB is straight up terrifying in terms of how far ahead they are, in terms of the level of distrust that they have among each other. That's basically making them have contingencies with their partners. That's crazy to me. And so I think this arc gave me a sense of dread that I don't like in Star Wars, but it's great television. And that's what's making it very interesting. So it's interesting. It's hard to watch it because you do have a feeling of unease that Ryan Key brought up last night, as it's like an Empire Strikes Back thing. You just aren't sure.
It's 12 hours of Empire Strikes Back.
Sure. It's 12 hours of Luke hanging off the radar. Being, oh, pick me up.
Exhibit being like, we heard you like Empire Strike Back. Here's 12 more.
We heard you like that, dog.
There is a conversation to have that we've had in some ways, and I kind of just want to make like a standalone video about this, about what Star Wars is and isn't. And I don't mean that in the way that like the neckbeards mean it when they reject canon. But in terms of like what the vibe of Star Wars is, if you think about it, the dark, gritty Star Wars, it was an outlier. Until Rogue One, it was one movie. Empire's the only one that has that feel. A New Hope does visually to some degree, just because of the nature of like the film stock that they shot it on, which was very standard at the time.
Right.
I mean, you can look at a dozen different movies that look just like A New Hope.
Right.
And the low budget. So
Yeah.
it had natural grit from being a film made in 1976.
Right.
But that's not all of what Star Wars is. Like, that was followed up with a teddy bear movie. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah,
I digress too much there.
It's the heart of Star Wars. The heart of Star Wars, and some people say the hero's journey, all that stuff. Yes, we've had those conversations before, but it is the sense of we are in the moral gray. We are in a sense of like where we are not sure. Like you can sit there and cheer for the rebellion, but the rebellion is not good guys doing the right thing. It is good guys protecting this movement that has no qualms about killing whoever is in their way, including their own people. And that's a scare. I mean, sure, everyone's like, it's realistic, that's how it is. And I'm like, I'm with it. But man, I want a blue lightsaber. I want a green lightsaber. Blue is, I know, I understand, I get it, but like, you know, I want that nobility. I want that piece of knowing that there is someone who's somewhat uncorruptible. But the truth is that's the reality of it. And that's why the show is doing as well as it does, because it's handling these themes incredibly realistic. And that is maybe more so us all looking at ourselves and going, how many of us are just surviving at this point? And is the reason we're in the position that we're in as a country because of that.
I feel like Andor to me is, I'll say this again, the rebellion in Andor, the rebellion as depicted in Andor, is just the trolley problem over and over and over again. And they just keep hard pulling the lever to steer and mow down one to save five.
Right.
Over and over and over. And that does feel evil at some point, but it's like...
we are not in the good place. Right. That's for sure.
Well, it's like just compounding the rebellion. Like it has to start somewhere, and you're seeing that it wasn't just Luke being like, "Woo, yay!" You know, like rebellion.
And even then, the subtext of that is all the innocent contractors that Luke killed on the Death Star. So we're just seeing it right in front of our faces now,
right,
for 12 hours.
Right.
But it's great. Again, we let's not forget, anyone who's listening, we think this is all great. It's just gnarly, and it's a little jarring sometimes. Shout out S13 Danny for the super chat and on YouTube. We appreciate you.
Yeah, Danny.
Hey, maybe we'll hit the $100 mark and get a cash out sometime this year. That'll be
wow.
Yeah,
we're on our way.
On our way. All right, we are through. Yep, we're done with that. Let's talk. I wrote down a few sort of main talking points, things we want to get into a little bit deeper. Generally speaking, though, last thing I want to say, like sort of on a general first impressions thing, is the political dramatization, how they're doing it, how Gilroy has shaped this thing, is such expert stuff. In the first episode, the first 3 episodes, it opened with that great TIE fighter scene. It felt very Star Wars. And now that we're like fully sitting in it, it feels, I mean, obviously, like the dude that wrote the Bourne series and Michael Clayton is at the keyboard on this one. Like it feels so perfectly political drama, and I just love it. That said, though, do you guys feel like this season has way more aliens? Have you noticed that?
Oh, definitely. It's noticeable.
Last season we were like, what's up with all these humans?
Mm-hmm.
Upon the rewatch, I definitely noticed more aliens than I did the first time. That's for sure. The huge
on this one or last season?
In season 1.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to start to see, again, same thing like at Mon Mothma's wedding. I think there's only 1 or 2 aliens, and one of them's pretty subtle. But this one, we have aliens with speaking parts in there. Amaranth just said that in the chat, which is great. But there's, we get that sense of like when you saw the Senate it was all different kinds of creatures and sentient beings and all of that. So I think it's good for us to see that variety, and I think it's great. I think we saw a new species actually, which I think was really interesting. A species that I didn't recognize, which is that kind of like that bigger guy who almost looked like he had like a, you know, like gills or something, whatever his species was. And I'm sure someone is like, oh, that's this one part from this animated show, which I think would be great. But yeah, I agree. We're fleshing out. I think this is intentional to show that this isn't just a human problem. The Empire is coming for everything.
Right. Other things that we haven't really seen much in Star Wars in general, actually. Is it weird that I got excited when there was a grocery store?
No, I got excited for like the small little, I'm reaching here, that it was like a little Japanese kombini, you know, like I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, I just got
kombini,
back from Japan. I'm like, yeah, it's colorful, and like the Arabesh kind of looks like Japan. Like, yay, I'm good.
I know. I was like, get the karage.
I was
Get
reaching.
the
I'm
karage.
still living on a high from being in Japan, so I'm like, yay, they're in a family mart. But
Nick
it was
was
cool.
like,
Totally, dude. Yeah.
Nick was like, in the freezer, it looks like a Twix.
Yeah.
It looks like a big waffle. You want that. You want to get that. You know, hot peppers. Bix is over here making fun of Cassian's little baby belly. I'm like, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, but this is Dexter Jetster level 1950s diner, which we did actually get to go to one in this episode too. But I think that was just a little throw to, you know, kind of Star Wars reminding people that yes, they're due, you know, get this walking carpet out of my way. Oh, apparently there's carpet in Star Wars. That's great.
A TV show, a talk show, that was funny. Like actually that and the grocery store were like the holiday special done by an expert.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Both of those
I feel that.
Yeah, it felt. I think something that it felt similar to me was Stanley Tucci's character in Hunger Games, and I can't. It's been a long time, but you know they kind of had that Pan Am or whatever the system was, kind of had this entertainment, this bread, you know, this bread for the circus for the or bread for the masses, and this, you know, pay attention to the circus. Coruscant today, Good Morning Coruscant, or whatever there was, you know what I mean? All of those things, the radio shows, you know, I'm like, we got the Ryloth call out in the radio show, which I'm sure we'll get into, but you know, yeah, it fleshed out the universe incredibly human in a way that we can understand it, which I think we all knew was happening from Clone Wars, but it was cool.
One thing I'd say about that too, I mean, I love the juxtaposition of like how dark and unfun the show is, but then there was that, because I feel like Good Morning Coruscant would feel way different if the same exact thing was in Mandalorian, because Mandalorian can be more upbeat. If you just threw in an upbeat TV show, it would have like not worked as well. Like the two different sides of like Bix struggling with like basically depression of being secluded, you know, it was kind of cool. But it also just shows something that you have to remember when you're watching this show, because like it's so serious and so dark, is that right now on Earth there's the most happiest person and then the worst shit alive happening at the same time, you know, like that is very real life. Like we're talking about a time where we're going into in Star Wars where, you know, we're a couple of years away from everyone's favorite story of Leia and Luke, you know, and that's all fun and games for us. But like to get there was, you know, got to crack some eggs to get there, you know, that type of thing. So I do like seeing that like life goes on for a lot of people, and life is way different for someone right next door to you in an apartment watching Good Morning Coruscant, you know. Meanwhile, Bix is like hiding and fearing for her life and addicted to drugs and a part of a rebellion. Like that's all happening right now on Earth.
Right.
Yeah, right. Fully.
Right. Which is, you know, I think they highlighted that at Mon Mothma's wedding. It was like, these people were like, oh my gosh, who's got it better than us?
Right.
They're dancing around to these, you know, these expensive pieces of art. And there's people who are like, we're literally getting dragged off our whatever planet we're on by the Empire because we don't have papers. That is real life.
That's real as hell. And then the last thing that I thought was really cool that was new for Star Wars, I feel like the Ghorman language is pretty fully fleshed out. It seems like at least they have the grammar and enough vocabulary. That's the most subtitled alien language we've ever had in Star Wars, like times 5, I would say at least. Right? It was pretty extensive.
Yeah, I
Very.
mean, I just thought it was an actual language. I don't know, like
Thought it
You
was
just thought it was
French.
French.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this must be French. I don't know.
It has like a French, German, Dutch mashed together kind of vibe to it, which I loved. And also, I mean, the look of the Ghorman front it's like full French Revolution, you know,
Yeah, and
Dutch resistance.
yeah, and that's absolutely on purpose. I think that's Gilroy just kind of that's Gilroy saying, we recognize the people that played a role. I think from our standpoint, of course, when we think about World War II, we're very American centric in how we feel about it. But I think for a lot of people who have done their research or at least learned the history, there were many, many, many people who contributed to making the progress that we did. And I think it's cool for Gilroy to kind of say that the rebellion was not just gathered from, it didn't start on Tatooine. It started in many, many, many different places. So I think this is a really cool. In some ways, I kind of feel like it's being that we are seeing a lot of countries being presented with options that I'm really trying to dance here. We're seeing a lot of countries being presented with non-traditional candidates, let's put it that way, and it seems like everyone's kind of doing their part to try to fight for the progress of people right now, and so I think it's a nice little nod to the planet right now of going, do your homework.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about kind of where each character or group of characters are. Well, I'm gonna do this in reverse order of what I have in the notes because I'm gonna see if Jason can pull the exact quote for us. Let's talk about Mon Mothma real quick. She's trying to gather support from all the senators to vote down. I don't know if she's trying to introduce a bill to remove or what it is specifically. Vote down the Public Order Resentencing Directive (PORD), which is what sent Cassian to Narkina. More on that later. It fails, including it fails with everyone, including the Ghorman senator, because he's afraid to put himself out there. So he's trying to protect his people by letting this scary shit happen. Did you guys pick up on what any of the other planets were, the other senators that she was talking to? I didn't have time to nail that down. But it's like as if we haven't already seen enough shit that Mon Mothma's gone through, where it's like, okay, this is what's going to push her over the edge. This is what's going to radicalize her. This is what's going to do it. It's like it's just building and building and building. And then it's almost like her version of this is how liberty dies. The moment that the dude in the center of the Senate is speaking, and she, like, the tears are just fully welling up
Right.
here,
Right.
She's a mess.
Well, I forget what episode it was. Sorry to interrupt. I forget what episode it was, but she was trying to get votes, and her colleagues' reasoning for not voting wasn't that they didn't believe in it. It was they were worrying about their own political, career, basically, and what would happen, the backlash that would happen from the Empire on their constituents, basically. And I'm like, yeah, real life. It's not about what you want to do, and especially if you don't want to lose your job or not get voted in again.
Did you see the name of that guy who had kind of the long face and was like cheering
in the center of the?
Yeah.
No.
He was referred to as the Oath Keeper.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so was that like a Pledge of Allegiance kind of thing?
Basically, and it's very weird, especially when you have, like, at least in our part of the world, literally a militant group call themselves the Oath Keepers. It was incredibly disturbing in that regard.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, great. But it is the way that it was, the cheering, the blind allegiance, we're not asking for anything else. Just blech, blech.
It's disgusting. It gives me the creeps. Bix and Cassian living together on Coruscant. There was a mention in the patron chat about whether or not they're actually married, because Bix refers to Cassian as her husband, but apparently she also does that in season 1. But time has passed. They're living together. They're getting naked together. What do you guys think? Is that real, or is that still just part of their cover?
I don't think so.
You don't think it's
Yeah.
real?
Nah,
I
I
don't-
think I'm like, who's getting married at a time like this? Like they both seem so focused on the mission that they know that like some kind of nuptial would almost put them on the radar. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I honestly haven't thought about it because I don't see how it would benefit the story necessarily. So it didn't occur to me to like think about it that much.
Plus, you're still hoping there's a
It's
chance.
jealousy
Got to be a
thing.
chance.
Yeah,
There's got to be.
yeah.
But she, like, we talked about the drug addiction thing. So she has this nightmare where she gets up in their apartment and Gorst is in the other room, and all of a sudden it's the interrogation room, and the dude he's interrogating is a soldier, a trooper with the mud trooper kit. You see it on the ground, and that what's happening here is that she's combining traumas essentially in her nightmares. That person being someone that they killed, again going back to the trolley problem, someone that they killed, she and Cassian, because he saw her face. Yes, he's an Imperial, but she says something like he was just a kid, he didn't do anything gnarly. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's intense. And it's just over and over and over. It's like until this show, pretty much, even season 1, it was like not too terribly bad. Like Saw Gerrera was the only one that operated on this level. And now, Nick, to your point, it's like everyone all over the place. Even at the end, the torturing Gorst and whatever. We were wondering last night if that was actually planned or if they just went rogue, the two of them.
I have something to say about that when we get to it. Oh, are we there?
Go ahead and say it now.
All right, we're there. We saw the conflict between Cassian and Luthen about Cassian being like, you came to visit her. He was very upset about that. I think the important part for Luthen was to remind themselves, hang on. Okay, we have someone who is firing up their land speeder next to me. The important part to remember is that Luthen is he feels like he's losing control, but he is a master calculator in terms of like reading people, understanding them. I think intentionally he played both Cassian and Bix. And I think the reason for doing this is because he wants to see if Bix is going, he knows that Cassian won't do anything to leave Bix behind, but that's also his test of loyalty of Cassian to Luthen. And so if Luthen goes and doesn't say anything, he literally says this, it would have been strange if she didn't say anything. He's basically saying that he knows that both of them are inseparable. And so for him to go and kind of put them against their odds, they team up and get stronger as a bond because he knows that she can't get pulled out of anything besides by Cassian.
Yeah.
So that was an intentional move to be like, they're getting soft. Bix is obviously very conflicted. She's dealing with substance abuse. She's dealing with internal trauma. Cassian, he thinks he doesn't think Cassian's moving fast enough because Cassian has become so calculating and so like almost like him, which is why he tells him you need to think like a leader, which is someone who does something. Right. A soldier waits for orders. He's telling him to be a leader. He's telling him to go out. You need to actually put this stuff into action because we're running out of time. So this is another master manipulation by Luthen to get both of them to go, you want to do something about it? Make a move. And of course, we know that Gorst is about to be amplified across the galaxy. And so I think that was a move to go, yeah, they were ready to make the hit, but Cassian would have normally said no. But now he's trying to do it not to piss off Luthen. He was, but to get Bix better.
Yeah, I think that's spot on and really, really good.
That's way more thought than I got this little tinge going into that scene that Cassian was going to true romance this thing. And I thought the lights were going to go on and Cassian was going to be the only one in there and just kill that dude for Bix and then go home and be like, our problems are done. But it wound up being the opposite, which was cool. Bix should have done it.
Yeah, and it was satisfying as hell.
For sure. Let's talk about Ghorman real quick. So Syril's there, working undercover-ish. We should talk about that more at length. But let's talk about this Ghorman massacre thing real quick. We talked about on the live last night that the Ghorman massacre has already happened. It's the thing that the bellboy tells Cassian when he's there with his alias. We were speculating that the Ghorman massacre, I mean, it's even on the bingo cards, would be the fight that happens in the middle of that square where that monument is. We find out in, I guess it was in 5, right?
Yep.
When Cassian shows up there with the alias, he gets the bellboy to talk. He's like, the bellboy says something like, "Oh, we're not supposed to go on and on about the whatever with guests," and he's like, "No, feel free, talk." And he tells us the story of Grand Moff Tarkin. Here's the quote: "It was Moff Tarkin. People wouldn't clear, and he wanted to land, and more of us kept coming. He thought there was safety in numbers. Who would land a cruiser on a crowd full of unarmed citizens?" And then later, she lost her family in the Tarkin massacre. There was a promise that the new Imperial building would never cast a shadow across the memorial. Now they know the truth. So
here's my question, though. This is twofold. We are all expecting the Ghorman massacre in this show because of the Rebels scene with Mon Mothma, which would parallel, I don't remember the exact, monologue from Mon Mothma, but wouldn't that, what she says, parallel another massacre? You know what I'm saying? Like, timeline-wise, what Mon Mothma says in Rebels seems pretty present, if I remember correctly. Like, it just happened.
Yeah.
So is there still something that's going to happen here?
Okay, so the one I just read about is called the Ghorman Squish, and then the Ghorman Massacre.
Yeah.
It's later. I don't know. I thought that too, but wouldn't that feel a little redundant in a way?
Yeah, I don't know. It I guess why we even had Ghorman on the brain is because of that Mon Mothma monologue from Rebels. It seemed like that was like I said, current or happened pretty soon before she made that hollow that they saw. So I don't know.
What Jason's saying here is that they're turning the Ghorman massacre into the Tarkin massacre, the Legends Ghorman massacre. So the new canon Ghorman massacre hasn't occurred yet. Okay.
Which makes sense.
Also, there's some trailer footage of something going down in that square, right?
Yeah, the stormtroopers come in, all that.
Yeah.
It's full. I think when you're looking at it from this standpoint, this show is the most expensive show they've ever done. I think already at this point, we have seen the level of detail, both in the costumes, in the sets, the writing, all of this. They
made a language.
They did. I mean, you're talking, this is next level television here, especially for Star Wars. So I can understand why they didn't want to land a Star Destroyer on a bunch of people just for the VFX of it all, right? Because when you think about it from that standpoint, we know that it's happening, but at some point you're almost like, this is it. I can understand that in story, it sounds more terrifying than the reality of a giant ship coming to port and going too fast. You know what I mean? And I get it. I understand that from Gilroy's standpoint, he's probably we made the TIE fighter seem scary, but landing a Star Destroyer on a bunch of people or his cruiser, they kind of seems like they changed it around a little bit. I'm like, yeah.
I thought they said it was 500 people got squished, so it had to be a smaller lander or something.
Yeah, something. So,
squish.
The Tarkin Shmush. All right, well, that's going to get gnarly. And that set, so apparently that Ghorman Square was very extensively built out physically. I was watching it thinking no way they built all of this. This has to be a real location that they added stuff to, or this has to be a lot of blue screen around just a ground area. But then the way they would walk around the perimeter and the shadows, I was like, this has to be real, but this is crazy. Turns out a lot of it was built, and it makes sense if they're going to have a big ass battle and blow a bunch of shit up.
Yeah,
they need a big physical set,
right? But
otherwise it just look goofy.
it's one of those things where you're like, I think the where this show has done exceedingly well was show that, you know, they are the TIE fighters are amazing. They're doing an amazing job with all the ships, but like where this show has hit the visceral level has been in the knife. It's been seeing the pain. It's been seeing all that. And so when you get this big space combat, it just turns cool again. You know what I mean? In terms of being like, now I'm watching ships, a space battle. You know what I mean? Like it's just not the chemistry of the show. The chemistry of the show is skin on skin contact and, you know, blood out of your teeth and stuff like that. So I get it.
And when it ramps up, it's like a pace thing. You know,
Right.
like we saw the robbery on Eldani last season, and like the intercutting of the three different, you know, high tension scenes at the end of 6. They're doing it like that, like it's the Born Identity or something, you know. Pretty sick. All right. Lastly, well, I guess that's it. Well, we should talk about. Let's do this. Let's talk about Syril and Dedra. We touched on this last night. Nick, I'm interested to see what you think. As this was coming together, Syril in his official position with his name, he's not undercover, but he is undercover, so to speak, on Ghorman, in this TVA looking ass office that he has with all this brilliant mid-century furniture and stuff. He's feeding information to Dedra to then get to Partagaz, and he's also feeding fake information to the Ghormans that he knows are tapping the phones. So he's like really, he's the dude playing a dude disguised as another dude. My first thought was, oh, Dedra's completely playing him. He has no clue because he's doing it so convincingly. But then when they actually went and met with Partagaz, I was like, wait a minute, he's in on it. But what doesn't he know? There's still got to be a level of deception because she's obviously going to screw him over because she's terrible and he's a bottom. Right? What do you think, Nick?
Accurate. Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a twist there somewhere, so you might be onto something. But there's one quote. There's two quotes I like from all 3 of these episodes, and I wrote them both down, and they both involve Syril. And the one that I want to bring up right now is when Syril and Dedra are talking with Partagaz after it all went down, and Syril says they're inexperienced but very eager, like talking about the Ghorman front. Mm-hmm. And Partagaz says how often those attributes align, like, and it pans to both Dedra and Syril. I'm like, that's brilliant, you know, like so good because they're both that way also, obviously. Yeah. So he's so eager that something is going to, like, one possible twist is that maybe he screws up and Dedra has to like cut ties, you know, like there's definitely a lot of things that can happen here. I mean, hell, maybe he even starts to just believe what the Ghorman front's got going on. Like there's a good amount of possibilities there. But yeah, their relationship is wild, you know, no shade at all. But like the fact that he came home for an hour and I'm pretty sure they had sex.
Turn out the lights. I can't look at your
like turn out the lights. No, nothing. Just turn out the lights. Don't want to see you. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Like, leave the spiders at the front door.
Yeah. One of my favorite things too, I don't remember what episode it was from, but Edie, his mom, saying, don't become too much of an individual, Syril. I don't even remember if that was this week or not, but
it was. Yeah,
it was.
Sure it was. Yeah. That made me so happy. I was like, that's such a good line. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. The 2 of them are, I think, potentially up to something, but because Dedra has the upper hand, I think it's possible somehow she screws over Syril.
I'm with that. All that makes sense. There is that part of me though that goes like, Syril so desperately wants to be accepted. Like his whole like ascension is about performance and doing a good job, but like no one like seems to like the guy. Even with Dedra, their relationship is literally on the fact that like she's an ISB agent and he's like, I'm doing a good job, right? I'm doing what you want. There's a part of me that thinks that the Ghorman front is actually going to accept him the longer that he plays. And I think he's, you know, there is that scene where like, you know, we see Dedra like pulling at her collar, right? And it makes you kind of wonder if like she's going to be at a spot where it's like, okay, now we have to get rid of Syril because he's seen this whole thing develop, and Partagaz and all, you know, like they know everybody's indisposable in terms of like, hey, Director Krennic, thanks for all your help. We're going to go ahead and nuke that citadel right there so that we can get rid of all this evidence. We're going to nuke Jeddah because we don't need it anymore. So Syril is also part of he's also part of this. And so I think she's going to be put in a position where it's like, okay, Syril has done his job. Now we need to eliminate him. And she might be torn, or Syril actually ends up turning once he either sees that he's been played. I'm incredibly interested to see how this dynamic plays out.
So Jason in our chat right now is saying, did you folks notice a bit of a start of chemistry between Syril and the Ghorman front woman, Ryland's daughter? It's like, yes, maybe she just shows him some real true like compassion or something, and he's just like, wait a minute, I haven't had it from my mom or my girlfriend. Like, what is this thing?
Right. She lets me be a tongue.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder too, the other interesting part was when the ISB kind of did that performative search, and he was kind of really playing the part of being like, we're bugging our own offices. Like he's doing that to make it like, you know, it's like if you find a security camera or you try to disable the security camera, there's a good chance that that security camera is just a decoy. And he's kind of doing that with them to make it seem like he can't believe that the ISB would bug us. We must be up to something, right? So it's kind of this really deep dude who's playing a dude who's playing another dude. I don't read the script. Script reads me. I mean, I get it.
Triple stamp, a double stamp.
Yeah, it makes that seals the deal right there in terms of like him being in on that whole part of it, because he didn't say anything about the Ghorman front was bugging us. So yeah, that makes sense. But in the end, like, what's it gonna? He's like such a loyalist. He wants to be accepted, and he wants to do things. He wants to be an individual. He wants to, like, he has all these things. What's gonna push him? I mean, is it gonna be the betrayal from Dedra? I mean, I think she's getting something out of the relationship, emotionally, sexually, whatever. But I think the whole thing is like, all right, well, this one will do my bidding, so I'll let him in my bedroom. You know, I think it's all bullshit. Ultimately, is that going to be? I can see both of them dying right there in the Ghorman massacre. I can see her bailing, and the last thing he sees is being left by her before he dies. You know, like, I think it's going to be gnarly, whatever it is. And then the thing about her parents, her being from an Imperial Kinderblock, Mike, I think you brought up that she might be the child of, like, you know, people, treasonous rebels, or, you know, rebel scum or something. And, you know, one part of your brain that wants the hope in Star Wars would think like, oh, maybe that'll turn her back. But I think that will just further entrench her. Or maybe she knows that, and that's how she got here. You know what I mean? Like, she talked about it on the panel at Celebration. We're going to learn more about her, what makes her her, and why. She sucks. Bad person.
Is there any candidate, and could it be Dedra, to literally be like a rebel spy? You know, like above Lonnie. Like, Lonnie doesn't even know that she's in there. You know, like, I wonder if there's something. I don't know if huge twist is Tony Gilroy's style, but there could be there's enough like pieces on the board of spy stuff, like normal, like James Bond, like whatever, spy thriller. There's enough of that stuff going on where, like, I don't even know what you would call it, a triple cross spy. Like I have no clue. Like maybe there's someone other than Lonnie who's like embedded in the ISB or the Empire somewhere.
Yeah, I mean that's also very possible. Mike, you're muted.
It's part of gas.
Yeah.
He's too gentle.
Him and Luthen are brothers.
Well, think about this. She's put the Ghorman front, like she's let them start that rebellion at home. You know, she's like, let's see how far she's like, the stuff that she's saying to Partagaz was like, they need to feel like they had a win. They need to be bold, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, she's giving them victories. I'm like, man, that could be pretty cool if she's doing it, but actually from the other side.
Well, it's relatively insignificant when you consider that, you know, okay, so they're building an armory. Ghorman people are like, hey, we're mad about this. And the Imperials are like, okay. I mean, that's it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're upset about this. You guys are running guns through our city streets. And they're like, okay. Or if it's playing out exactly like it plays out today, you'd be like, no, we're not. And the people are just like, well, they said no. Just like they said no about the armory. I mean, who knows? It's a relatively insignificant thing for them to do and use this as a giant thought experiment, which I go back to what I said at the beginning. The ISB is terrifying at how chill they were about this in terms of just being like, yeah, let it play out. Let's see where it goes. Because they know this is going to radicalize more people, which gets even further into Dedra's original meeting with Krennic, which was we need to rely on them to do stuff like this. And that is our cover for how we end up getting what we need out of Ghorman.
Gnarly. All right, let's is there anything else we want to touch on before we No, let's just do the Den of Antiquities. What do you say, Mike? You ready?
I'm ready.
For over 1,000 generations.
It is the dark Sith.
Run, Togosh.
It's a Calibrate.
A Sith wayfinder.
Dark science. Cloning. Secrets only the Sith knew.
The Den of Antiquities is dark, but also quite fun. Just saying, we saw pod racing in Tony Gilroy's Andor. Okay, everybody relax. Everybody relax. It's very fun. Port Steergard from the Rima trade route. Steergard was where Cassian's stolen Imperial Starpath unit was from. If you remember that, there we go. We're showing it here on YouTube. Make sure you watch along. And the Rima trade route was first mentioned in the 2014 book Tarkin. That shows you exactly where it is on here. Look at these visual aids. Thank the maker stepping it up.
Did homework.
Let's talk a little bit about Rhydonium.
I didn't do homework.
Okay, well, ride the Rhydo on this one. I think for a lot of people who are looking for what Rhydonium is classified as, it's kind of this cool, almost looks like a little hurricane logo, generally on red crates whenever we've seen it before. It's a substance that Saw and the crew are trying to get. It's a very volatile starship fuel, highly explosive. The fumes are harmful to human health. Let's say if you're half man, half machine, and you got to huff it, Rhydonium will certainly do that to you. It's found on Abafar, Kijimi, Morax, Sarakor, and Trelgaria. First seen in the Clone Wars episodes of episode 12, season 5, Missing in Action. And that is the episode where they find clone trooper Gregor with amnesia, living a normal life, working as a dishwasher on the planet Abafar. Now, Rhydonium is also, I believe, is this correct, in the Morak episode of Bill Burr episode of The Mandalorian. That's actually what they're transporting on the Juggernaut ships.
Yes.
So we have Rhydonium as a volatile fuel. We also have coaxium, and then we also have Dibana gas, which is also an explosive, more atmospheric gas, not as petroleum based, I would say. So basically there's a lot of stuff in Star Wars that'll kill you. Saw Gerrera's Partisans base is on Dakar, which is where the Resistance base was in The Force Awakens. This one in particular right here from The Force Awakens. You can see it there. Shooting location is in Grenham Common, a former air base in Berkshire, England. Real life locations, which we love. Look at the benthics right here. Aren't these guys just awesome?
Love it. They look amazing.
Gosh, that's
Voices
cool.
are great.
Right? The Cavern Angels, that black and white paint job on the X-Wings. Let's go. The Galactic Senate exterior shot. Ciudad de las Artes, Las Ciencias in Valencia, Spain. This is an actual location here, which is pretty amazing. The
Look at this
IS...
thing, dude.
What's that?
Look at it. Look at this thing.
This is real. You can go here. You can go here dressed as an ISB agent. Let's see how far you get.
Hey,
The
look at
ISB
this, though.
Control Center at the
Hold on,
look at that.
Before you do, look. This is from Apple Maps. I just zoomed in the 3D render. There's a bridge right here. You can see the railing at the bottom.
That's pretty amazing. Is that a pool?
It's no.
I feel like
it's-
that was in Westworld also, like the last season of Westworld.
No,
that looks super
that was
familiar.
that was Singapore.
Ah,
Okay.
But
pretty amazing.
Jason shaking his head yes for pool. He's been there. The pictures I saw though, people in like kayaks and shit,
Oh,
just cruising around in this. So
oh,
it's a big man-made body of water. I mean, and it's long as hell. If you go back here, this. I mean, look how
oh, it's huge.
giant this is.
Wow.
Is this? I don't know what's in each of these buildings, but this is massive.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Really cool.
Let's see. The ISB Control Center is the McLaren Thought Leadership Center in Woking, Surrey, England. Look at that. It's a real place. God, that's cool.
With this complete wraparound LED screen, like we don't have anything this cool in the States. It's like Vegas.
Wow.
And that's it.
That's pretty amazing.
It's incredible.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. Let's see. Not sure if we called this out last season, but the voice of the built-in cockpit droid in Luthen's ship is voiced indeed by David W. Collins, sound designer on tons of Star Wars video games, Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, sound editor on Book of Boba Fett. He's played background characters and additional voices on all the Disney Plus shows, Revenge of the Sith, Force Awakens, Rogue One, and The Rise of Skywalker. He is also the host of the soundtrack show, and we were very grateful for DJ Elliott for introducing us to him at Star Wars Celebration. And it sounds like we got to get him on the show once Andor is over. He was incredibly kind, hearing him and Ryan talk about composition, talking about scores. It was pretty amazing to listen to and be a part of that conversation. So huge shout out to David Collins for all that he does for Star Wars. Pretty amazing. And then, of course, like I said, we got pod racing. We're a couple mentions of, some OTPT things that I thought were great. We could go through with a 5-tooth comb again, but I liked that little detail there of those guys almost like they were watching the game while they were supposed to be. Your classic security guard, always distracted by whatever game is on currently. So I like the idea that they were watching pod racing as Syril needs to get in and scomp in.
Oh, also, in the patron chat, our buddy Henry is pointing out that the McLaren Center was also used for shots from season 1, like the spaceport kind of thing, the big
true.
lobby with the
Sweet.
giant, floor to ceiling windows.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
Pretty amazing. Okay, so let's talk bingo card, shall we?
Let's
Hold off.
let's do that for the bonus segment.
Good point.
We will. Let's just mention the ones that we may have gotten because we're going to have to litigate this a bit, and we'll do that with the patrons. After
Yeah,
the
good
show.
point.
Because we need to get to I love you, I know, and quote of the week. It seems to me like we may have gotten a few hits. We got the El Organa, right?
Wait, hang on. Wait. Before we talk about this, can we talk about Saw Gerrera?
Like just in general.
What
Crazy.
did we see? I can't believe we're not talking about. I mean, I'm realizing we didn't talk about it. It's in our notes. We're getting so much things. We're covering 3 episodes, people.
Yeah.
This is chaotic. But let's talk about Saw Gerrera real quick, because as described, Tony Gilroy, Jason was at the little preview and said, we are going to get the definitive Saw Gerrera moment. Do we think this was it? Because this monologue is Luthen level, in my opinion, in regards of going Saw Gerrera, Forrest Whitaker. I posted it today. does not get the love that he deserves for
No.
what he's brought to this character.
Yeah, he's really chewing the scenery, but it's so believable. He's so fully in the character. He's so fully owning it. We are lucky to have this man showing up to play this character after all these years.
I don't remember the exact quote, but the sentiment of like, basically being like, you can't be sane and be in a rebellion or something like that.
Yes.
I forget what the
Yes.
exact quote was. He's like, of course I'm insane. I'm in the rebellion. I don't remember what it was exactly, but I was just like, damn, I know you're crazy.
You can see it in his eyes too. It's wild.
Yeah.
Jason pulled a bit of this monologue. Let's just take a listen real quick.
I have always loved you.
What are you doing?
There it is.
How can you do that?
Because I understand it. Because she's my sister, Rido, and she loves me. That itch, that burn. You feel how badly she wants to explode? Remember this. Remember this moment. This perfect night. You think I'm crazy? Yes, I am. Revolution is not for the same. Look at us. Unloved, hunted, cannon fodder. We'll all be dead before the Republic is back, and yet, here we are. Where are you, boy? You're here! You're not with Luthen, you're here! You're right here, and you're ready to fight! We're the Rido, kid! We're the fuel! We're the thing that explodes when there's too much friction in the air! Let it in, boy! That's freedom calling! Let it in! Let it run! Let it run wild!
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Whoa. So I would say this is Joker level brand
Oh, yeah.
chaos. I think in regards of how he says it's my sister, I think when you know Saw Gerrera's backstory, this dude has quite literally, just like Cassian, been in the fight since he was a kid. And I think knowing what happened to his sister, and we know child soldiers, we know all of these things do terrible things to your psyche. But I think for him, it's familiar. The fight is familiar. The idea of trust and partnership are not things that he's familiar to. And so when you have something that's volatile, that Rhydonium is only one thing. It is ready to explode. He literally says it, right? And so when he thinks about the idea of going like my relationship, the relationship that I had with Steele and my sister, there you go. She gets killed. She's part of this. Everyone that he knows at some point has like either been, is available for sale to betray him. The guys that he brings in are tapped by the Empire. He was literally about to be set up for an ambush. I mean, this dude is quite literally watching his very back, but the one thing that he trusts is himself going insane from Rhydonium. And that's what I think he means by saying it's my sister, because for him, the chaos is the only life that he's known. So, I mean,
I'm glad you brought it up. Do you think that he killed, I think that guy's name is Pluty?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Could that have just been paranoia? And Two Tubes went in, just pulled some random thing out and been like, look, he was, he's relaying messages to the Empire. There was no, yeah, it seemed like that could go either way. And maybe we're meant to interpret it either way also. Like, it just seemed so, he had that guy in particular seemed like he didn't really have a grasp on it. I forget what his name was, Wallman or something like that. He knew what to do.
Willman.
Yeah. So Saw was just like, screw this guy. Boom, you're dead.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I think Saw. I mean, he's not one. He knows where he is, and they're always on the run. It's kind of like, I'm sure at some point he's not that hard to find. You know what I mean? And I wonder if that's because like he enjoys the idea of going, bring the fight to us. We're ready. But certainly no. I mean, they don't travel light. You know what I mean? Like Luthen is this like little needle that's just like threading all these different spots, and Saw's like, we want all the gas. We'll blow this whole thing up if we want. So I that's a phenomenal scene of, you know, the Rhino. I mean, God, Huff and Rhino, that's got to be our new thing. I'm going to Space Dive next weekend. I'm doing some Rhino.
The Rhino is like the Whippets of the Star Wars universe. Okay. Should we do I Love You, I Know? We'll do that, and then we'll do Quote of the Week, and then we will deliberate on the bingo cards with the patrons. They're picking a Quote of the Week right now. They're pretty split, but they're going to do that. Let's do I Love You, I Know.
I love you.
I know.
Favorite moments, scenes, and so on. We'll read a few from the patrons from Discord. If you want to be a patron, patreon.com/thankthemakerpod. It really helps. We really need a little help right now on that. Star Wars is in a weird place. Everything's down. Views are down. Engagement's down. People are, you know what I mean? People are playing damn Fortnite or whatever the hell else they're doing. So if you get anything from this podcast, if you find value in it at all, help support us. Patreon.com. If you don't have a few bucks a month to do that, just share it. Word of mouth is huge. Share it on social media, whatever. We appreciate everyone who listens and watches. Let's see. Ethan in the patron chat says the montage of Mon Mothma politicking for votes was nifty to watch, and immediately after reading the Reign of the Empire, Mask of Fear. I need to read that still. Have either of you guys read that?
It's on my shelf right now, but I gotta
get it together.
I gotta open it up.
Watching Andor on assignment from receiving his identity and backstory to seeing him portray that character to his interaction with the Ghormans, really fun to see how tactical and strategic he's become. Yeah, that's something I mentioned last night and didn't say today. Everyone seems to be like really hitting their stride. Even Syril is a different person. You know, he's got confidence. Everyone is just really leaning in, and the way Cassian played those roles I thought was amazing too. Kalei Kiloa says, my favorite moment was the meeting with the Ghorman front in that little secret like space VFW hall. I think this kind of stuff is so fascinating to me. While I don't speak or understand French or whatever they were using, how they used French actors and sort of French-based fictional language to sell the idea that these are native Ghormans speaking their mother tongue fluently, I bought it 100%. If I didn't know any better, I would have thought they were actually speaking French.
Hey, do the Ghorman sign.
Yeah, what is it? Stick the arm.
Oh,
on
yeah,
it?
I don't know what
And
that
it's also
meant.
this.
But then there was this.
It's a greeting of like
Yeah.
open
Oh, and
palm,
clapping, like here.
open hand. It seemed like this.
What's up?
This is a
What's
greeting,
up?
and this is like nice to meet you, or like salutations, and then this is like let's fight. I don't know. That's what I got. Maybe
Let's
that's
see,
middle finger. We can't do
Last
that on
one
YouTube.
from Physics Buddy Joe. The moment earned a cheer for me, even though I was worried it was in a dream. But Bix finally got her justice, and he put a GIF in here of
the space ice cream, space sundae.
Yeah, that is so Japanese looking.
Yeah,
Japanese, Chinese, like just overly ornamental thing for like a little treat.
But
Sorry, you
like,
get your treat, dog.
Oh man, that's the dark part about it. That you sit here and you go, all these terrible atrocities. How do you sleep at night? And apparently after ice cream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, man, it's dark, dude. It's dark.
And then he says the little grin that she has on her face right after the explosion goes off. There's a GIF there too. Awesome. Nick, how about you? What was your favorite moment or scene? Or quote for that matter?
Quote. I'll repeat that I loved the "Don't become too much of an individual" Cyril from Edie. Favorite scene, I think the most tense for me was Clea trying to get the microphone, the spy equipment off that artifact.
Yeah.
And it was tense enough, and then it got stuck. And like Krennic and that whole crew is just inching their way towards there. You know, she's unscrewing that thing and it's stuck to the point of her hand bleeding. And then add Lonnie to that scene where he's just freaking out the entire time and she's got to calm him down, even though she's doing the dirty work. Like all of that was just really well played.
Nice. Mike?
It seems like a very simple thing. The dialogue in this show we got quotable moments, right? I think the favorite scene, the one that's standing out to me when I think of the 3 episodes that we watched, was actually Saw Gerrera in this brand of chaos, because I think in contrast to how we believed the rebellion was skeptical in their own way of being like, look at the size of that thing, right? Saw Gerrera is one of these people who is like uncontrollable. And even when we meet him in Rogue One, right? Just the general distrust. I'm like, man, this is, to quote Nick, the rebellion is scary. I like that extra layer of good guy, bad guy. Where is Saw Gerrera in this? And I like that we're reminded how pivotal Saw Gerrera is to weaving the rebellion together. But I think the moment that sticks out for me that I finally felt good about was actually when Luthen and Clea are laughing together as they said, we should have shot Krennic while we were in there. And they both were like, yeah, could you imagine? I actually was like, that made me feel good.
Yeah.
Was like, they should have.
Like, these are humans.
100%. Yeah.
Having the same kind of conversations.
And Clea like laughs about it and they basically just have like a high five together. So I think between Bix getting her job done, and again, we have more to talk about our little viral clip that went off, but that was great to see. But I liked that moment of Clea and Luthen after they had been at each other's throats about how to do this. It was nice to see them like, yeah, we got this. Or
yeah, I was stoked about all the revenge stuff. I think my favorite scene though was more of a sequence because of the way everything was cut together, just on like a filmmaking level and like an energy of being a viewer kind of level. The last, call it like 10 minutes, all the intercutting stuff that really started to ramp up basically as soon as we got into the montage about with Vel and Cinta kind of planning. It felt like Aldani again. They're at the table planning. They're like, we're doing it tomorrow night. From then to the end, the pace just had me fully hooked. So I'm going to call that my favorite sequence. And then my favorite quote, Jason mentioned this. We're going back and forth with all of the Master Jedi patrons who are getting the quote of the week here. My quote was probably I'll just play it here from Luthen.
Think about a planet like Ghorman in rebellion. A planet of wealth and status. If it goes up in flames, it will burn very brightly.
To Jason's point, again, in the patron chat, could be a comment on the whole season, in their whole outlook.
That's true.
And there's some of that also in Vel's monologue at the end. She says something like, you're going to carry her with you, or what is it? You'll make up for this forever.
Yeah.
Which is, there's something that radicalizes every one of these people, and that's what they're doing. They're making up for whatever that moment was for the rest of their life.
But
it's pretty heavy.
And that's an interesting point too, because it's just like everyone who gets dragged in that doesn't know that they're a part of it. And so in an interesting way, it's almost like the Ghormans are like, we're not here to hurt anybody. We're here. I mean, literally he goes to, that was the dude who was like, I'm ready to punch the Empire in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm ready to go in there and tear it down myself. And that they didn't invite him because they were too worried that guy seemed like he was going to get somebody in trouble. And this kid ends up accidentally shooting Cinta and realizes in his accident of him wanting to just do a small little bit of rebellion, is now fully in.
Yeah. It's gnarly. It's so
Mhm.
gnarly. The quote of the week from Patreon is, though, something we've already played. It's Saw's monologue. But the runner-up, a little levity, but also something that speaks to the arrogance of the Empire, is from Partagaz, something that I think we all probably laughed out loud at, and it goes like this.
I'm counting on you to keep watch on these idiots.
An honor, sir.
Really? It's an assignment. Calibrate your enthusiasm.
Yes, sir.
Oh, it's so good. And the look he gives the dude, like, are you shitting me?
Right.
Oh, you're honored. Oh, yeah, that's cute.
Right. And then
So
like
good.
Lonnie looks over at him after, he's like, why did you say that? I don't know. They told me I'm doing a good job. And I just said I was doing a good job. Oh man.
It's really good.
The show is something else.
It's incredible.
It really is.
We're halfway through it. It feels strange that we're already halfway through it, but we are. So we're gonna litigate these bingo card results as the bonus segment for patrons. You can listen to after at patreon.com/ThinkTheMakerPod. It's looking like, in my opinion, we may have gotten up to 5. Or wait a minute, who does Cassian's sister? That's the patrons? Did one of us? I thought we put Cassian's sister referenced, right? Didn't we? Or
Yes.
did we not do that?
Oh, let's look.
No, you know what? We may have done something else instead of that. All right, so get rid of that. Anyway, Bail Organa, Cassian makes a crucial assassination. I'll make an argument for that. Narkina reference. We see Saw's, quote, accident. Those are the ones on ours that I think are up for discussion. And then on the Patreon side, Bail Organa, and then a known musical cue in episode 4. There's something that sounds like it's from Revenge of the Sith, so we're going to take a look at that. Again, patreon.com/ThinkTheMakerPod. Check it out. Anything else to shout out before we go?
Mosh Isley on Sunday, May the 4th.
Sunday in Vegas, May the 4th.
The Lord's Day.
And
And
San Diego Comic-Con, which we are dropping tickets on sale very soon. Next week, are we doing it?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
that's what we said.
I got to get busy. Get
cracking,
busy,
buddy. Get busy living.
We do have, we're going to drop a poster tease and a poster reveal at the beginning, and then we'll go through and do our thing. That's going to be great because finally, due to scheduling conflicts, it's been hard for everyone to get in the same room together. But that one is going to be a lot of fun because we also have a panel, if it gets accepted, which we are hoping it does, a panel with the Dad Batch at San Diego Comic-Con. So it is going to be a total blast to be there for the weekend. Figure out how to get there. It's going to be awesome. And that event does sell out. So make sure you get your tickets. And Space Dive, we got a lot of Jason's coming in town for next weekend in Detroit. We're doing something pretty cool that we'll tease here probably early next week. But Jason and Raimi and everybody's coming in for Space Dive, which is an immersive Star Wars experience in the city of Detroit. Hope you guys are able to eventually come to that because it's only getting bigger and better. Shout out to our buddy Kevin, who did a podcast on here with that, and they are gearing up. Check it out. It's amazing. And that's what we got going on. So
they brought some kind of like flyer sized, almost like trading card style promotion items for when Bayside was in Detroit, and they looked so good. What a fine piece of I mean, I guess it was just promotion, but like they seemed like collectible trading cards, but they were like a little smaller than like a size of piece of paper.
Nick, there's still time.
Great.
There's still time for you to come out. Okay. All you got to do is get there on Friday or Saturday. That's it.
I still actually feel jet lag. Like in the last 10 minutes, I just had like a wave of it hit me. So I would like to stay here, please. Thank you.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
Nick's
Coming
just
back
gonna
from
go
the
to
East
bed.
Coast, man. It's tough. It's tough.
All right, everybody, thanks for watching and listening. Patrons, we'll see you on Discord in just a few minutes. And everyone else, until next week, may the Force be with you. If you enjoy Thank the Maker, you can support us by following and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Or you can support us directly at patreon.com/thankthemakerpod, where you can get access to our Discord server, exclusive content, exclusive merch, our recording live stream, and more. Our patrons quite literally make Thank the Maker possible.